Hello, hello. What is good, y'all? Welcome to RadioUTD. This is Sai, and I'm here with Joe Guzman. Joe?
Good morning. Thank you for having me once again.
Of course. How you doing?
I'm feeling good, all things considered. Yeah.
Nice. Before we get started, I want to get to know you a little bit. Could you talk about yourself outside of the music? Maybe talk about your hobbies or...
Well, I'm largely consumed by music.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly what I do, what I try to invest myself in. I outside of music, I went to school here in Dallas at the at Media Tech Institute. They used to be known as Dallas Sound Lab. I have a associate's degree in recording arts, so I know how to mix, master, and produce. And my hobbies are I obviously enjoy music, so we're leaving that out for now.
Right.
I like running. I like endurance sports. I'm very athletic when I have time, and even had a period of my life where I was heavily into traditional and modern martial arts. And I'm also a Navy veteran.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, nobody would pay me for that if they looked at me right now. But I grew up around Euless, Texas. Went to high school there, graduated there. I'm originally from a tropical island. I'm from the tropical island, Puerto Rico.
Nice.
And I arrived when I was about 5 years old. And then lived most of my story here in Texas.
Great. For the listeners that aren't familiar with your music, how would you describe your sound?
What I strive for is a transporting quality of the sound. So layers and ambiance and dynamics. I also heavily lean on psychedelia and neo-psychedelia as part of my sound. I've studied these genres extensively, and I try to pull from that source because I feel that it resonates with the quality of sound that I'm trying to get out to the listener. Just something that'll literally and emotionally transport them.
So you were actually here last year.
I was.
Right. Over this period of time, what's changed for you?
Well, as far as my band goes, we dropped our bassist, just creative differences, and we started making the music that we really wanted to make. And we went ahead and renamed ourselves Space Poets. We used to be called Flow State. We are now Space Poets, and we've just been working on the new quality of our sound. I've been organizing this festival. I actually got engaged.
Really? Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello, Amanda Jarvis. Soon to be Amanda Guzman. She's out there in Pahoa, Hawaii right now. So all signs pointing to Hawaii in the very near future.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you mentioned the Space Poets earlier. Could you talk about all the members in the band and how you all work well together?
Of course. Still the original lineup besides the bassist. So still Terrence Easton on guitar, me on synths and vocals, our drummer Kenneth Eberly on drums, and right now in this project we're playing to our strengths. We're playing to the things we all know we can do well. So layers, ambiance, pocket rhythms, more or less trying to create a more hearty sandwich instead of a combination sandwich that's falling apart, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
So, and that's been our process for I'd say the last 8 months to a year.
What are some artists that you think inspire the music that you make right now? Right
now, when I sat down and started to create ideas for Space Poets, I was listening to a lot of things, not only psychedelic music, but I was also listening to a lot of the indie rock and indie pop that's been becoming popular overseas. There's a lot of stuff that's really interesting and really catchy, and it seems that it has a following. Stuff like Low Moon, Halos, bands like Talos, Phoria, RXY, Howling. These are all names that are taken off in Britain and most of Europe. They're not really things that people are familiar with here, but the sound quality is great, and it really resonates with my original vision for my music. And so I've been pulling from those sources as well. Obviously, we have a guitarist is very much a rock guitarist, so that's that quality of the sound is still very prevalent. Same with the drums. You can't quite get away from the powerful kind of 4/4 rhythms, but everything else is kind of being hybridized. Is that a word? I don't know. It's being finally mixed. Those other qualities and other influences are being finally mixed in the music that we're making right now. So
beautiful. The debut album from the Space Poets is coming out soon, right?
That's correct. April 1st for those listening.
Could you talk about the album for a little bit? Talk about what went into the process of creating the album and what should people expect out of it?
We started creating the album between the drummer and myself while we were still doing the other band. And it was kind of just on our own time. It was during a time in my life where I was seeking meaning and transcendence from relationships, my personal journey. It was a time of reflection, and so I went ahead and I tried to document that time of reflection. However it came out, happy, sad, good, and bad. I put down my emotions on record as what it was, and it was more true and genuine to who I was. And so these concepts are a first hand look at who I was at the time and what I was going through, and hopefully listeners out there can take that, and if they identify with that, maybe it'll get them through a time such as I had. And it was about 3 months of writing, and then I went to Hawaii after I met my fiance and stayed with her and continued to work on concepts from a distance. And then I came back and we finished up the writing and we went into pre-production. We started bouncing these ideas off our producer, Michael Briggs, who's out of Denton, a very prolific producer and a great musician himself. And so he started to help us whittle down and refine what we were trying to do with the album. And so finally in November of last year, we recorded with Michael. Did a lot in the studio. He added a lot of embellishments and ideas and really filled out our sound sonically. And so that was basically the process from beginning to end.
We also have something else happening next month. We've got the Psychedelic Panther Fest, right?
That's correct. Yep.
It's on the 7th to the 9th, I believe.
That is 7th and 8th this time.
But yeah, could you talk about the fest for a little bit? What's maybe new and improved this time around?
New and improved. Well, I'd say since we got a date cut, I really focused on getting the bands that I really wanted to hear and I want people to hear. I basically am playing DJ to the fullest this time. So instead of picking bands strictly on draw or strictly on reputation, I picked what sounds good and what sounds cohesive to the festival. And so I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty proud of the way it came out. And sonically speaking, that first day is going to be pretty awesome. It's going to have a gorgeous Jetson out of East Texas, pure psychedelic rock, bifocals out of Denton, Texas, kind of a neo-psychedelia kind of vibe. Estacado out of Dallas. I'm sure you're familiar with them. Fantastic musicians. Phantom Mellow out of Fort Worth. They're making huge waves, getting well reviewed, and they should be turning heads this year as well. Me Motor Scooter out of Fort Worth. They're one of the more known and established bands of Fort Worth. Maestro Maya from Denton. Pure psychedelic rock, pure layers and ambience and goodness, and all rolled into a rock band. And in tandem, Sunbuzzed. Sunbuzzed is a female-led, witch-themed psychedelic rock band. Phenomenal performers and phenomenal people. So happy to have that lineup for day one. Also, new and improved. There's going to be 2 light shows this year. There's going to be a light show on the inside stage, and when the sun goes down, that outside stage, big pretty outside stage at Lola's, is going to have all sorts of psychedelic projections on there, and it's going to be great. We have new sponsors this year. We have the Gas Pipe, and the Gas Pipe will be selling legal cannabis-based products for your consumption and pleasure. And we also have our sponsors, Printed Threads, who were kind enough to get behind the festival this year again. Fort Worth Roots, who will be broadcasting from the festival site and sharing the experience. I guess I didn't tell you about day 2, did I?
No.
Okay, so day 2 is going to be equally as fantastic. We're going to have a couple of bands that are purely instrumental open today. Svarga Loka and STEM Afternoon. Both of these bands are heavy on the ambient side, on the psychedelic side. When you think about Psychedelic Panther, think about the feeling and the vibe. I would say instrumentally, these two bands encapsulate that, and they're a good intro and segue into the next act, which is Apuk the Destroyer, which was with us last year. Apuk has a very special story. They have a member out in Serbia that they have to fly in. So last year was their reunion show after many years. I want to say it was like 7 years that they had been apart, and so now they're making it their yearly reunion with Psychedelic Panther, and that's very special to me. They're a great band. Matthew Broyles is a great storyteller and musician, and it's going to be a very enjoyable set. And after them, it's going to be electronic duo Little Beards out of Denton, Texas. Think about a very ambient industrial sound led by soaring female vocals, very, very cinematic in its quality. I really appreciate those two for doing this year. After that band, it's going to be one of my favorites in the area, a hip-hop duo, Lost Art Legacy. Is a hip-hop duo that focuses on themes such as consciousness and society issues, how we are constantly battling the powers that be for our autonomy, our mind, our consciousness, and how the powers that be are kind of at a return trying to stop us. So it's a very concept based as far as the lyrics go, and it's well in line with the message of the festival, which is raising our vibration, raising our awareness, raising our consciousness. And so I am so honored to have them this year. Space Poets will be performing after Lost Art Legacy, and you'll get to hear our album live in its entirety, and possibly an encore song if you stick around. Then after us will be Secrecies out of Dallas, Texas. Secrecies is a very vibey, trip-hop inspired band, after which This Will Destroy You inspired kind of band called Only Ever. And then after them, Lorelei K out of Denton, Texas. Lorelei K is a ambient, almost dream pop sounding band. Michael Breaks, our producer, is actually in that band. He plays the air synth, and it's crazy because it's a ball looking instrument, and it works off proximity. So if you hover your hand over it, it'll engage the DAW that you run the system through, and it'll be in pitch with the track. And so you'll see him manipulate things with his hand, kind of like a wizard, bringing in and out these different ambient textures, and doing a really good backup vocals through like pitch modulation.
That sounds pretty cool.
Oh, it's insane. The guy is a genius. I'm so happy to have Lorelei K this year. Dahlia Knowles is a trans activist, doing important things for her community, and yeah, I'm happy to have that quality musician and quality of people at the festival. So that wraps up the musical aspects of day 1 and 2. You can also look forward to plenty of visual artists. Lots of great artists. Matt Bardwell will be there. You should look up some of his stuff. And of course, Rick Wallace. Sorry about that. Mr. Wallace is a contemporary modern artist out of Fort Worth, very, very established and very well known. Yeah. And many others, many prolific artists that will be selling their works, and it will be a visual and audio experience for all.
That's wonderful, and that's a great lineup too. It's on the 7th and the 8th in April.
Yes,
it's going to be at Lola's Fort Worth. At
Lola's Fort Worth, the new location there, 2000 West Berry Street, Lola's Fort Worth. And if you want more information or tickets, you can go ahead and check out our website, www.psychedelicpanther.com. If you want to know a little bit more about Space Poets or be in tune whenever we drop our album, that's www.spacepoetsband.com.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or are there any future plans for the band?
We are going to focus on making music, and we do want to play and perform plenty. It probably won't be a lot, but it'll probably be once in a while. We decide to get out there and perform. We are working. I'm talking to Texas Theater, so hopefully that's a thing this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're mainly just going to be focusing on working on music so that we can continue to release subsequent works over our next few years, and see if maybe we can get some support from a label or an agency that's interested in our sound. So
nice.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And for all the listeners, once again, we were going to have the Psychedelic Panther Fest on the 7th and 8th of April at Lola's Fort Worth. And also check out the Space Poets album drops on the 1st of April.
Thank you so much, Said.
Thank you.